able to take my big buck on the second setting of moving it over there because they were cutting across, coming. Well, I passed a buck that I shouldn't have because I got a little greedy. I had a chance to take a buck bigger than the one I did, and I passed him. Shouldn't have. Lesson learned. Into the woods and cut around. So I needed to move forward so I could catch him earlier. Doe bedding, and then go another 100 yards beyond that.
Hey guys, Capper here. Welcome back. Welcome to any of our new viewers. Today we're going to take a really pretty winter drone flight over at Pro Staffer Phil's farm, and we're going to talk about winter scouting. We're going to see how his food plots did, and we're going to do all this particular segment from the drone to kind of show you his farm, all of the improvements he made, his deer stand placement, lessons he's learned this season, things he's going to change for the next season, and all kinds of interesting stuff, not to mention beautiful scenery from his Ozarks farm on a beautiful sunny winter day with the drone view. So let's get into it. Thanks.
Tell us about your strategy here, the way your farm lays out.
Okay, and a real quick editing note, in this video, all of the trail cam pictures you're gonna see are from Phil's farm this year, like this beast right here. Now that the season's over, he's willing to share this stuff with us. Now the video B-roll you're gonna see of Fraggle Rock buck, that was from my Illinois farm, but all the still pictures are from Phil's farm this year. Keep in mind, this was his first year here, just like us. He was a few months ahead of me, so let's get into it.
So what we're looking at, left and right, down the center there's corn. If you stop just a second, you'll see the big white patches right now to the left and to the right. Those are little green fields. Those will probably get converted to clover this year. I got to move the blinds because the deer use those green plots early season, but by the time it got cool enough to hunt, they stopped using it. So it's a matter I need to get blinds in the shade so I can get in there in that first couple, 3 weeks.
My question, and for the viewers, is there's your house, okay, your house. How close are these to the house, and how successful have they been for hunting?
Well, for hunting, not successful because this was kind of a bit of a fail. Like I said, the deer used them, but my setup was wrong.
Okay.
So I need to set up for an earlier season, which means I need to take, like on the left there, that blind needs to go all the way up against the wood line so it's in the shade, so you don't cook in it for deer season. Now, as far as usage, extremely successful. They used them all the time. Pan back to the right. The one on the right, we can actually see from the house, and we were able to just watch buck after buck after buck all summer and into the early season from the house. So that was awesome. They're using that water hole pretty well. The only other change is there was a buffer strip. You can almost see it a little bit there. There's a buffer strip between the corn and the green spot. Once I move those blinds out, the corn is going all the way up against the grain now. We're going to put in more grain, but we're also going to cut it short on its way to the house to bring in alfalfa production. So right about that line right there, coming straight across, we're going to chop that cornfield off, and that's going to be part of the 10 acres of alfalfa we're going to put on the farm this year.
Okay.
So kind of down the center there is the trail that I use for ingress, egress. It's the top of the big ridge. Everything falls off, at least 100-foot drop down into the bottoms off of the sides of these hills.
Okay, so start with that middle, what was hayfield there.
Okay, so back there in that corner, that was an 1.5 acre brassica plot, which really turned out well, even though we went through the drought. I planted it early. 1st of August, because I knew I had rain coming. I put a ton of fertilizer in it, so the minute it got rain and it germinated, it just jumped right up and canopied. And the deer back in there, if you back up just a little bit, you can see from the drone, and we'll get a close-up of it right there. They're digging. They're digging for the turnips and radishes right now. They are in there just digging them up. So that's definitely been a success. I need to put between the corn and that field, I need to put in like an Egyptian wheat screen, because I just cannot access the back of the property without coming through there. And
Is this where you moved your tower?
I did move the tower. The tower was at the very end of the
in the
plot,
middle. Yep.
There, and I
Yep.
moved it over
Okay.
to the center, and that was I was able to take my big buck on the second setting of moving it over there, because they were cutting across, coming up the ridge, and then they would cut and turn this way to get back into the woods and cut around. So I needed to move forward so I could catch them earlier.
Okay.
So we will do some TSI work or FSI work. There's a difference between TSI and FSI. We're going to do some forest stand improvement. We're going to go down the hill till we can't see the blind, and then start building doe bedding, and then go another 100 yards beyond that and build some more bedding for the bucks on the backside of that this winter.
Okay, and then you had, you had this backfield. Let's go check that out. Now, you had multiple mature buck opportunities this year.
Most I've ever had in one season. I passed a buck that I shouldn't have because I got a little greedy, thinking it was early on Halloween. I had a chance to take a buck bigger than the one I did, and I passed him. Shouldn't have. Lesson learned.
Yep.
Move forward. So the same thing here. I left a buffer around the field. I'm going to plant it up close, but in front of the blind. Now the blind was to the left, facing down the ridge originally.
Was it like in the middle of that pocket, kind of?
No, so it was like right about there.
Okay.
It was right about in that area, and I just moved it to the center because there's a U shape. You can kind of see where it's just snow right now. There's a little bit of a U shape that I planted in clover, because that's hard terrain to work the dirt, and that clover was very, very.
Oh, it was lip high when we were here last.
Yeah, they
couple
just
months
every
ago.
night,
Oh, yeah.
every night they're still in it whenever they get a chance to hit that clover. The power of clover here is amazing compared to what we saw in southern Illinois. So I moved it over. That's going to remain a clover field. We're going to overseed it, and then we're going to bring in the corn and bean combo again all the way around it. The only difference is where I had a buffer that I was going to see if I could get some natural regen, but it's not coming back as quickly as I'd like it. I'm going to push the corn and beans right up to the woods. Same scenario. I'm going to come back off of that ridge, because that is a south-facing ridge, and we're going to come down, and when I get to where I can't see the blind, I'm going to start building doe bedding, and then down the draw, I'll go another 100 yards down, so it'll drop down the draw, and I'll either at the bottom or the bottom and to the east a little bit, I will build bedding back there.
So when you're
bucks.
saying building the doe bedding, are you talking like hinge cutting or hack and squirt or what?
Yes.
Okay.
All of the above. There's
Okay.
not one single thing that anybody should do, and that's what I told. A lot of the clients don't know that I used to do land management work for a select few clients back in southern Illinois, and you can watch all the YouTube videos you want, but there's not one tool in the box that covers everything. You have to use it. Depends on your objective. If you're wanting some side cover, definitely dropping trees and doing some a little bit of hinge cutting is great for bedding area. If you're trying to provide some screening and you just want it to turn into a big brush bramble, that's where I would hack and squirt and just let that natural thicket come up around it, but not clog it up. Because I don't want, if you want it for screening, you don't want to drop too many trees, because the deer will start bedding in it, and then you're not getting the screening because you're too close to them.
Okay, speaking of screening, I noticed this on our farm. So I love the thick cedar growth around the edges by the hardwoods, because then they can't see, and when you're getting in and out. What are your thoughts on that, and do you have areas where you're going to try to increase that or decrease it?
Well, there might be some spot. I do not have a big cedar thicket, so to speak, like you had at the Fangorn Forest in southern Illinois. So I may even come in, and this is really outside the box for what a lot of the people see on YouTube and hunting shows, I'm going to try to encourage and release some of the cedars thickets. If I can take out a tree
yeah, it
that's
looks
shading
like
them,
one down there. Is
and
that
let 'em
on
go.
you? It looks like maybe a cedar thicket. Is that still on you? Let me show
No,
you
I think
where-
that's on the edge.
Okay.
I think that's on the edge onto.
This is your back plot that we were still in.
I lost track of what direction I'm looking right now.
All right, let me
Let's see.
show you. There's your clover.
That's towards the edge of the property. Yeah. So
Okay.
so we're going to put a water hole right in front of those
right
cedars.
there, Yep.
I've not yet been on the back side of that ever, but I did get a lot of traffic of deer coming and going out of there. So I don't know. I don't even know what it looks like back in there. I've not yet set foot on the property yet. We've been here almost a year now. Okay. So I got to explore that at some point and see what's available. But we definitely want to put a water hole right out next to that clover.
Yep.
And it'll definitely capitalize. I'll bring in. I'm not sure if they show up right now. If you zoom back up a little bit
To where?
to look over the whole plot.
Get a little
If you can
higher.
see, there you go. You can kind of see where I had mowed travel corridors inside the corn and beans.
Okay.
You can see them lightly right now there's just a little bit more snow than the other. I will bring that back, but during the season, now I was able to make observations, make notes on X hunt, and with the snow travel, I've been doing the same and confirming and getting them more precise to those travel routes. And I will make green travel routes in the middle of the cornfield leading to that clover patch to enhance the huntability there.
Now, this is the road, ridgetop road that we put that double ladder stand on in
Yes.
the watering hole?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can see that water hole right there.
Right there, okay.
And we're going to change that up a little bit. That's a bigger hot spot, but we put the double stand
Right above it.
right about there, and most of the travel came back and forth this way. We had some come down the road. So what I want to do is we're going to open that up, clean it up around the pond so that the whole pond is exposed. And I got a nice flat spot, and I'm going to take a blind and put it right up to the left of that road, overlooking it. I'm actually going to have to take some legs off, so it's only like 5 foot of.
Well, yeah, there's
the
a
ground,
big. They can't see it, but
it's too big a drop.
that's a big elevation change. From that pond just to the left side of that road is a big elevation change.
Yeah, so it's almost natural spot right there to drop.
Oh yeah.
To put a blind right there. It's only going to be 5 foot off the ground, because if it was 10 foot, I wouldn't be able to shoot anything coming from here, or if I can get on the other side of the fence and then shoot some lanes through here. But they come and go on the backside more so. Now there's a ramp, and we'll go down there. They use it a lot, because I want to put one in there. I'll put the stand on, or the blind on 5 foot legs, but it's still going to have a 10, 15 foot drop down to the pond.
Yeah.
It'll be back in the shade. So again, that was my tough part, was I didn't have enough good early season spots when it was warm, when it was hot. And there's going to just be times you're going to have to go out there and sweat. And there was a lot of opportunity that was passed up because I was not set up for it.
This year, just for the viewers, particularly our long-termers, he had opportunities to put 2 different 150 plus on his wall this year. He brought them in, the plan worked. 3. He had 3 different opportunities. So the plan worked. I'm doing the corn and beans with him this year on our farm. We're going to do it old school for a whole bunch of reasons, because the ground is so hard and so rocky. But right, I'm going to bring this in unless you want to look at anything else.
Nope. So if you roll back this way, you'll see a blind. This is over. So that blind started originally dead center of that, looking at everything.
Yep.
I really wasn't getting any traffic, so I moved it down the hill and facing the ridge coming in. That's where we dug up and put the wheat in, or the oats. I put buck forage oats, but it was 6 weeks before it even germinated. And I think by the time it germinated, the deer just had moved away from the road. I've noticed that they pull back farther away from the road. They do not tolerate a lot of disturbance as season goes on. So
Right.
that's going to turn into a small green plot that's going to be about a 1/4 acre, half moon, probably just do an overseed of clover and chicory, and it's just going to be there. I may put some screen in, a Egyptian wheat screen, and then the balance of that is all going to be my production alfalfa, but the production alfalfa is going to back up and complement the hunting extremely well. So we will, every piece of ground that is open on this property will have a food source for deer all year long.
Nice. Nice. All right. Excellent tour. We're going to bring it in and might go for a ride. Perfect.